When developers launch a new app or website, they usually paste a copyright symbol in the footer, link to a generic legal page, and assume their intellectual property is secured. While copyright protection arises automatically in jurisdictions like the UK, that symbol is merely a notice. By itself, it fails to define what a user is actually permitted to do with your APIs, your database systems, or proprietary documentation. To try and close this gap, teams often rely on browse wrap, the assumption that simply by navigating a website, a user has implicitly agreed to all the rules hidden in a footer link. But when browse wrap is challenged in a dispute, it often evaporates. If a user can show the notice wasn't prominent, courts frequently treat that agreement as if it never existed. This leaves 3 specific holes in your defense. AI scrapers can harvest your data, malicious users can abuse your credentials, and code disputes can paralyze operations, all because you lack proof that any rules were actually accepted. Without a way to verify that agreement, your standard terms of service page offers almost no functional protection. To fix this, you have to deploy Enforceability Enhancement Clauses, active rules engineered directly into your product to make your rights verifiable and your evidence undeniable. We can see where passive consent fails by looking at the backend architecture of a standard sign-up flow. Require active click wrap via an affirmative action, like an unchecked box. This creates a data event. Capture the user ID, timestamp, and accepted version number. Then, log a cryptographic hash of the text, creating a permanent, unalterable link between user consent and your terms. This mechanism transforms an ambiguous website visit into concrete evidence. If the user ever claims they didn't agree to your restrictions, you have the data logs to prove otherwise. But human users are only part of the threat. Today, non-human actors, like automated bots and scrapers, target digital platforms to extract proprietary data and code-based logic at scale. Standard legal agreements often fail here because AI models ingest massive datasets to train competing algorithms, creating value from your work without ever copying a file in the traditional sense. Your enforceability clauses must explicitly prohibit the use of your software, documentation, or API outputs to train, fine-tune, or benchmark any machine learning system. Restricting the behavior of these automated systems gives you the necessary grounds to issue takedowns or block access when you detect machine learning ingestion. Even these patches are vulnerable if they only exist on a single legal page. True resilience requires a layered defense strategy throughout your entire product architecture. This includes placing short license identifiers, known as SPDX headers, directly inside your individual source code files. If a piece of code is separated from your repository, the legal notice remains embedded in the file itself. Within the agreement, you include a severability clause. If a specific rule is found to be invalid in one jurisdiction, this clause isolates that failure, like a legal firewall. This layered approach ensures that even if one specific clause is challenged, the rest of the agreement survives to protect the rest of your product. When you integrate active consent logs, behavioral restrictions, and a layered repository architecture, your legal protection changes. The agreement functions as an engineered mechanism rather than a static piece of text. Your UI manages the initial click wrap barrier. Your database captures the timestamps and cryptographic hashes, and your version control system maintains the archive of every historical license version. This integrated system prepares you for high-stakes scrutiny. Whether it's an enterprise-level audit or a strict App Store compliance review, you have a verifiable chain of evidence ready for inspection. If you ever face an IP theft challenge or a breach of terms, you won't be relying on a footer link. You will have a technical log showing exactly who agreed to your terms and when they did it. Implementing Enforceability Enhancement Clauses upgrades a passive legal notice into a rigorous defense for your digital assets. For more breakdowns on building and protecting digital products, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.